The most influential movie you've probably never heard of by StudioBinder. We're gonna look at this. I have honestly no idea what movie this is, right? I got this recommended, so we're gonna look at this. Also, please consider liking, subscribing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, we're going in. I don't know what to expect here. I'll be real. I have no idea. I have no idea. We'll see.
In 1955, a roughly 90-minute genre movie came out by a first-time director.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. A full 90-minute movie. Not bad. Okay. And what is this? First time, by the way.
It got negative reviews and was a flop at the box office, ending the director's career before it had really started. And yet, against all odds, this unassuming film has gone on to become one of the most influential movies of all time.
An old left-hand hate is down for the count.
You may
The Night of the Hunter, 1955. Yup, I have never heard of this. Indeed.
not have seen it, but your favorite director probably has.
The movie contains some of the scariest things I've ever seen.
This is your favorite filmmaker's favorite film, The Night of the Hunter.
We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves.
Before we open our book of hymns, subscribe to StudioBinder and click the bell to stay up to date on all our videos. Get ready to get scared. The Night of the Hunter was directed by Charles Laughton, a celebrated character actor who had never before directed a movie. The screenplay, written by James Agee and based on a novel by Davis Grubb, follows two siblings as they try to escape the grasps of a preacher searching for money their deceased father hid.
This money here, we gotta hide it before they get to me. There's close to $10,000.
Although it bombed when it was initially released, the film is now widely regarded
Damn, did she just get fucking slapped?
as one of the most visually striking and menacing movies ever made.
With the
film's amazing. And then over the years, this film has just grown and grown and grown in stature.
I think it's one of the scariest films ever made.
It encapsulates the spirit of dread.
It is an essential. You have to see it.
Night of the Hunter is just one of maybe the most important films.
So what makes Night of the Hunter so impactful?
Interesting. Yeah, oh god, David Lynch, that's horrible. Interesting. Very interesting, even in Dune.
And why do filmmakers continue to draw inspiration from it today?
Hereditary. Interesting. Well, I don't know this one. Makes sense, though.
The answer begins with the film's script. On its surface, Night of the Hunter is a simple story. Laughton called it a nightmarish sort of Mother Goose. It's clear who to root for and who the villain is.
I can feel myself getting awful mad.
This helps make the film an airtight thriller with a singular driving force behind it, the evil preacher.
Yeah, bro, if somebody screamed like that at me, I'd shit my pants too. Okay, not bad. Good voice work. That scream does sound terrifying.
But there is also more to the straightforward story than meets the eye. Laughton and screenwriter James Agee subverted genre expectations at the time by making their villain a man of God.
Lord, you sure knowed what you was doing when you put me in this very cell at this very time.
Laughton was able to look at the Southern Gothic and find in this preacher that...
But isn't it? It's interesting, right? That they use the man of God in this one. Well, that's very interesting, huh? Not bad. Not bad. Interesting. Right? That's interesting.
sang hymns and find the menace and the horror in those spiritual tunes.
The movie's structure, too, is deceptively complex, which also adds to the themes the film tackles. Handmaid's Tale novelist Margaret Atwood explains, "The film has a double framework. It opens with Rachel, an older woman whom we later meet as a rescuer of stray children, invoking the world of bedtime stories and dreams. The next framework is a social one, the Depression, cause of the desperation that drives the film's initial robbery."
Where's your mom?
Out shopping. You're bleeding, Dad.
These frameworks both set the tone of the movie, while also
Well, that escalated. Now that escalated quickly.
emphasizing some of its primary concerns, such as innocence versus wickedness, and the dark underbelly of the American social fabric.
This is what I use on meddlers. John might be a meddler. Ah, no. No, little lamb, don't touch it. Now, don't touch my knife. That makes me mad. Makes me very, very mad.
The Night of the Hunter's cinematography, too, is the stuff of legend. Writer Francine Prose argues, if we were to measure a film's achievement purely on the basis of the depth and the indelibility with which it has engraved an image or images on our minds, the winner might well be Charles Laughton's The Night of the Hunter. Even Roger Deakins, who has said he doesn't prefer the cinematography of Hollywood's golden age, listed Night of the Hunter as one of the few films from the era that stays with him.
Shame on you, Ruby. Running around the house after.
But how can a such influential movie just bomb? Was this like people being blind and then realizing after the fact how good it is?
That mad dog of a man.
To prepare for his inaugural directing job, Lawton studied silent movies, wanting to restore the power of silent films to talkies, leaning on striking visuals to set a mood.
Not bad. Not bad. That does sound pretty good. That does sound pretty good.
The film was shot by famed cinematographer Stanley Cortez, who also collaborated with Orson Welles on The Magnificent Ambersons. Together, Cortez and Lawton pulled heavily from the German Expressionist movement, relying on sharp angles and harsh shadows to build tension and fear.
Pretty good though. Pretty good. I feel like something that's basically gone missing in modern movies is the use of shadows. I think that like a lot of movies are too bright, too colorful, and lack the good use of shadows.
The result is undeniable. Film critic David Ehrenstein notes, "No one who has seen The Night of the Hunter has ever forgotten its images, like some ghastly pop-up storybook image suddenly coming to life. Ask 10 different directors their favorite visual from the movie, and you'll likely get 10 different answers."
I love that sequence when the two kids are on the boat and they're going down the river, and you have the close-up of the various animals and insects. The black and white photography is superb.
It contains some of the most lyrical and poetic images and passages in any genre.
Interesting. Yet love spelled on his fingers. Interesting. Interesting.
Genre film. The hair floating in the water, I've been trying to do that for 25 years.
It's impossible
Did this bee just have gills? Did this lady just have gills?
to talk about The Night of the Hunter without talking about the hunter himself. Robert Mitchum's turn as the preacher is unforgettable and massively influential on how actors approach larger-than-life villains. Mitchum's performance both embodies evil
Children. Children.
while grounding the character into someone
Oh yeah, I'd also be terrified if like I was like inside the house and some dude dressed in black is calling just children. Yeah, bro, I know what you are.
terrifyingly familiar.
by the sheer power of the performance of Robert Mitchum, with no real makeup, just the way he would look and throw his voice and his attitude, and it's outrageous. He's playing a character who's outrageous, that you would think of as a clown if you didn't know that he was so
Robert Englund, the actor behind Freddy Krueger, discusses Mitchum's influence.
We know from the get-go, this is a sick puppy, a big, brutal, sick puppy. So we're not dealing with that element of surprise. He's coming. He almost oozes around door frames, and it's just an amazing, amazing performance.
Attention on performance came from the top.
I'm not a man. I'm not a beast.
Charles Laughton was a celebrated actor himself and prioritized getting the best out of his cast.
Go on, pull the butt out. Hold it, Billy. Get after him, Mitch.
He took a unique approach to filming scenes, slating only once at the beginning of a film reel and letting the camera roll until it ran out. This allowed him to work with his actors without having to wait for the camera to reset.
Just a minute, don't cut. Mitch, take a deep breath and run as long as you can. You haven't cut, have you?
No. Put the knife further away from you, Mitch.
And hold your head still and start.
The knife further away.
Knife further away from you, Mitch.
Boys are rolling.
Come on. The camera's still running. All right, Mitch, one deep breath.
Guillermo del Toro argues that
yeah, at least he didn't get wet for nothing, essentially. What this is. Essentially, he didn't take a bath just for nothing to happen.
the power of the performances comes from the types of characters Laughton would play.
Charles Laughton is one of my favorite actors. His Hunchback of Notre Dame is the most moving because he understood this fragility and monstrosity at the same time, which are why his movie, his only movie, and a perfect first movie are made of such material, because he understood beauty and horror at the same time.
Once upon a time there was a pretty fly. He had a pretty wife, this pretty fly.
Nearly every element
Love and hate, not bad. That was already like scared of like him popping up behind the girl or something. Oh no.
of The Night of the Hunter has been mimicked in other movies, as Todd Haynes notes.
It's been quoted and quoted, but it is an astonishment to watch every time.
Sometimes it's a hard world for little things.
It's a hard world for little things.
Joel Cohen has claimed that when shooting True Grit, Night of the Hunter was always in the back of our minds. And its influence appears in many other Coen brothers movies, such as The Man Who Wasn't There and The Big Lebowski, where the dude's famous line is a reference to the final line of The Night of the Hunter.
The dude abides.
They abide and they endure.
Spike Lee directly quoted the film in Do the Right Thing.
In this film, Night of the Hunter, Robert Mitchum has love and hate tattooed on his fingers. So,
That's actually pretty cool. It does have quite the influence then. It just does. What are these haircuts? It just does then, right? A lot of pop culture references then from this movie alone. How have I never heard of this if it's that influential? Wow.
Film Do the Right Thing, there's a character named Ray Raheem, has brass knuckles that says love and hate. In fact, he gives a speech, the same speech that Robert Mitchum gives about the battle between love and hate.
Hate. It was with this hand that Cain iced his brother.
It was with this left hand that old brother Cain struck the blow that laid his brother low.
These 5 fingers?
You see these fingers, dear hearts? These fingers has veins that run straight to the soul of man.
The story of life is this.
Now watch and I'll show you the story of life.
I mean, it looks like the right hand love is finished.
And it looks like love's a goner.
But hold on, stop the presses. The right hand's coming back.
Hot dog loves a winning. Yes, sirree.
Oh, left hand hate KO'd by love.
It's love that won. And old left hand hate is down for the count.
Charles Laughton may have only gotten
not fucking bad. Not bad at all.
To make one film, but the film he made has had more influence than most directors' entire careers. And regardless of impact, The Night of the Hunter still stands up on its own, terrifying audiences all these years later.
The Lord God Jehovah will guide my hand in vengeance.
Get started on your own cult classic with StudioBinder's pre-production software, which can help with everything from...
Interesting, they have their own pre-production software. That's kind of cool and interesting. Well, I'm not gonna make a movie. Not Markiplier. I cannot produce on a somewhat cheap budget, on a very cheap budget, a somewhat cheap budget.
scheduling to storyboarding. And if you have a movie you'd like us to cover in this series, let us know in the comments.
Right. I don't know. Okay, so to summarize this whole thing fully, right? Right? There's not really all that much to say here. This movie has a lot of influence when it comes to references, right? It's been referenced earlier. Backgrounds have been referenced. The actor is obviously a pretty successful actor, considering that you know, he's been there. He's been there, right? He's been there. Hunchback of Notre Dame, probably some others as well, right? I think we watched the video on this Hunchback. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. In combination with all the crazy stunts that this man has made in that movie, as far as I understand. And then also, right, it is a thriller, which means it's essentially, considering how many top directors have named it and used it, it's essentially like the grandfather of thrillers. Is that the way you'd use? The use of a man of God is very interesting, right? Because, like, right? You wouldn't expect that, especially during the 1950s, I'm assuming, right? You wouldn't particularly expect that. The use of children is also always something that, right, is used in thrillers, horror movies, etc. Because, like, children are supposed to be like something like very innocence, right? From like the scary and the horror parts, right? Makes sense, understandably so. It's like also interesting, right? Usually, so right, we have bad movies that are cult classics, right? Like The Room, right? But they're objectively horrible and bad movies, right? And like, but they're still like popular in a way, right? But you rarely really hear about a movie that's good, but then flop at the box office, essentially, right? Right? You're like, nowadays, right, with like modern cinema, the way modern Hollywood is, and how bad it is, right? When a movie fails nowadays, it's because it's genuinely a underwhelming product, right? Because we have like a lot of remakes and a lot of movies that try to, instead of entertain someone, they try to lecture you, right? With societal problems and issues, right? We have that nowadays a lot. Or the original source material gets changed that the movie or the TV show is built based on, right? So it just gets right up completely obliterated, or one season and it's gone, right? We get that, we know that. But rarely do you hear of a movie that like failed the box office but is then referenced and talked fondly of, right? All these directors really talked fondly about this movie, which is kind of interesting, right? You wouldn't expect that from a failure, right? Quote unquote, right? You wouldn't expect that. But yeah, it is rather interesting. I've never heard of this, but this would be genuinely be something that I would watch, right? Even despite its age, right? That is still something I would genuinely watch. I just where could you even watch that, right? It's not like it's public domain already, right? Because like in public domain you need a century or so, and then it becomes public domain. I could be wrong. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say when it comes to this movie, right? I like the scream scene. That was pretty good. And from the scenes I've seen, the betrayal of the villain is kind of interesting, right? Like hate and love, left and right hand, right? Again, you wouldn't really expect that from such a character, which probably I wonder. I wonder why it failed. I wonder, were people just blind or did they not realize what they had, right? Sometimes you just get something and you only realize what it was, like how good it was when it's gone or when time has long passed and you're like, fuck, that was actually kind of good, honestly. Right? With all the references from directors and how fondly they talked about it. Anyway, yeah, that's this video. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing. Tell me what you think about this movie in the comments. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. I also hope that I can upload this video because you never know, right? From these channels in particular, it might get copyrighted, which is not fun, right? And a copyright can turn into a strike. We wouldn't really want that, now would we? Anyway, take care, guys. Bye bye.